The Ukraine this time attacking the goal to our left. We will check to see if indeed Khalid Vintsev is in the lineup. Khalid Vintsev actually born in Russia but opted for the Ukraine. Konopko was the man who went down. Konopko lining up farther forward, it seems, at the start of the second half. Kanchelski's at the controls. Almost invisible in the first 45 minutes. Got to measure the free kick.
Well, I mean, all the Ukraine have to do now, Derek, is they've done enough to win this game. All they have to do is now sit back, make sure that they don't give the Russians any space. I mean, even in scoring 2 goals in the first half, they didn't allow them any space. So they should be in pretty good shape in the second half, just defending those 2 goals.
Varlamov was the man who defended that time. Will be a throw for the Ukraine to be taken by Yuri Dimitrulin. Rebrov jousting for it. And Khalid Vintsev, it appears to me, is in the lineup. Nikitin, and for once, straight down the throat of Harin. Dmitry Harin, as we mentioned in the first half, plays in England with Chelsea. And a surprising decision to recall him to the Russian national team. Many people felt his days were over at this level.
Well, he had 4 or 5 keepers he could have chosen from. Cherkasky, everybody thought would get it, or
Chugainov.
It was a big surprise when they went for Karin. I think it'd be even a surprise to him, Derek.
As many players such as Karin been in the wilderness since a disappointing 1-1 draw in Cyprus during the World Cup qualifying campaign. There's Khalid Vintsev, very influential player of Dynamo Kiev, who's in the center of midfield. As we mentioned, Russian-born.
Well, he decided to play with the Ukraine, which is very unusual. I mean, it was generally a question of the opposite way. But maybe he's picked the right side to be on.
Kovtun going up for the head challenge. This is Hussein. They love to come at them from the flanks. Kovalyov. Hussein. And the defenders get the job done. Minko. Yoshev Sabo, coach of the Ukraine, watching fairly nonchalantly.
He doesn't look like a man that has a 2-0 lead, does he?
No.
The way he's reacting. Maybe he doesn't believe it just yet.
A long way to go, but the Ukraine, the team in command. That time Kovtun went across to meet Shevchenko. Little pat on the head. Kovtun of Dynamo Moscow. And there should be a card here. The German referee Markus Merck taking the note of Kovtun. Here's why.
Well, you're going to see very close to the line. He just comes in underneath Shevchenko, and he actually gets him way out over the line, Derek, and the referee had no qualms about handing out that card.
That's the 3rd booking of the night, and the 2nd for Russia. Kovtun joining Yanovsky. That should be a free kick. No, referee says play on. Kovalyov took the tumble. Markus Merck from Germany, the man in charge. There's Kovtun, who was booked. Chugainov trying to feed it down for Kolivanov. What a quiet game he's had. Kovtun has a yellow card.
Well, they're going to try to push Kovtun forward. They've got to try to get everybody forward now. Onepko's pushing forward much more than he did in the first half, Derek. And they haven't been fit to get their key men involved. That's the big thing. The big 3, for my money, has been out of it. Kolivanov hasn't been able to get involved. Kanchelski's hasn't been able to get involved. And, you know, once you do that, you've done a good job. And Ilenichev just hasn't been able to run the midfield.
Throw taken by Mickey Teen. A little hopeful with the second effort downfield for Shevchenko to go after.
Well, the one thing is those long-ranging balls down. It just runs time off the clock. This man has to be concerned at this stage, Derek.
52 years of age, Anatoly Bishevets. Rebrov. Tenacious little competitor, Serhiy Rebrov. And Mickey Teen trying to drag it down the touchline.
Well, no great urgency on the Russians' part. Watch, look at. I mean, they're 2-0 behind. Would you know it? Not by the way they're reacting here. That's a foul throw.
Yeah, certainly suspiciously close to one. This time it goes the Ukraine's way. Husin. This is Khalid Vintsev, the substitute. Rebrov burrowing in field. Serhiy Rebrov. Shevchenko takes up position. Being shadowed all the way by the defenders.
Well, if Shevchenko had received the ball a little better, Derek, he was in on top of the keeper. Rebrov played it onto his left, and for some reason Shevchenko ended up trying to guide it with his right instead of being fit to step over the ball. Just took it a little bit awkwardly.
Linko beaten to the punch by the hard-working Husin. Kanchelskis, not a compelling factor in this game. Andrei Kanchelskis. There's this Ukrainian team, so unfortunate not to make it to World Cup '98. A very tough group. Finished second to Germany. Overcame Portugal for second place, but then went down in a two-legged playoff to Croatia. So they had it within sight. Likewise, the Russians. Going out of the danger area again. By Vasyuk, and all the way through. Shavkovsky has it. Markus Merck, the man in charge, handed out 3 yellow cards. It hasn't really, though, been a physical game, Tommy.
No, I mean, there was a lot of emotion coming into this, and we thought that it was emotion that might boil over on the field. But I think one of the Russians put it, he said, we're not enemies, he said, we're just good, friendly rivals. And I suppose that sums it up best when you're a professional football player, doesn't it?
I think many of the Russian players have a hard time imagining that this is, in fact, a foreign country that they're in. Yes, it was part of the same country for 300 years, even though the Ukrainians have always been fiercely nationalistic. And Dynamo Kiev was, for decades, the major sporting outlet for that nationalism. Now they have a national team of their own. Indeed, a state of their own. 8 minutes into the second half, it remains 2-0 in favor of the Ukraine in Euro 2000 qualifying Group 4. Khalid Vintsev, a long sprayer of the ball. Yuri Khalid Vintsev.
Oh, normally the captain would decide. I was very surprised he didn't get the start today, Derek, because he's a very, very dangerous player.
A trap that time by Mickey Teen. Shevchenko. Rebrov on the turn. They're coming at them from all angles now. And wide of the mark in the end. Wide of Dmitry Kharin. 2 balls on the field. Now just 1. Our Euro 2000 qualifying action continues live on Sunday with Bulgaria against Poland. And that is in Group 5. One of the toughest sections of all. That'll be played in the Black Sea resort city of Burgas. We'll be joined by Eddie Mighton for our coverage from Group 5. Bulgaria against Poland. Sweden and England also in that group. And when last we heard, the Swedes were leading 2-1.
Well, if you're to believe the reports coming out of Bulgaria, Stoichkov is back in favour, Derek. He's the big man again. I'm not sure after his performance in the World Cup he deserves it.
Russians looking optimistically for a free kick.
Well, the Ukrainians just knocking the ball out of there, making sure that the Russians don't get a good, clear opportunity, and why not? But they do get a free kick just outside of the box.
Well, now they could be onto something. Kolivanov wants to strike the dead ball.
Well, we've seen him score many great goals in Italy.
Beside him is Olenichev, also in Serie A these days with Roma. So a carefully placed Ukrainian wall. Very few chances to speak of for Russia. And it will be Igor Kolivanov. Inches wide. Not sure exactly how much Shavkovsky knew about it, Tommy.
I don't think he knew a whole lot about it because he reacted so late to it. But the fact that it didn't go into the net is all he's concerned about. Kolivanov struck it well, but there was too much curve on it. It just kept curving away from the target all the time. Watch when he takes the curve on it. It goes in the direction he's looking. See, it just swings away around the post.
2 goals inside a dramatic 10-minute spell. Still holding up for the Ukraine against Russia. This would really set the cat among the pigeons in this section.
I think the fact that the Ukraine doesn't meet France until 4 games into this competition, Derek, leaves them in good shape.
There's confirmation of our scoring situation. Popov and Skachenko with the 2 goals of record. Karin dashing off his line to grab that. Skachenko no longer in the match. He was replaced by Khalid Vintsev at the start of the second half. Gonchelski's for Russia. They all get tangled up. Onopko in there.
Well, Onopko trying to make his presence felt now as an attacker. You see, Gonchelski is not too unhappy, Derek. Surprising the day he's having. I mean, he's out there having a joke with some of the players on the field, the Ukrainians, having a laugh. So he doesn't look like he's all that upset about the way he's playing. And mind you, he hasn't had any more than about 4 touches on the ball the whole game.
Varlamov was battling that time with the dangerous Andriy Shevchenko. And he's very difficult to pin down, Shevchenko. Watch this again.
Well, you're going to see pushing and gets a grip of a jersey.
Khalid Vintsev will take the free kick. 13 minutes into the second half. Yuri Khalid Vintsev. Flashing header by Rebrov. And the clearance, Semak just booting it out of the danger area. Little flick by Novalov trying to drive into heavy traffic. Out it comes again, Mikitin. And the Russian defenders getting the job done, but they badly need to get something going in an attacking sense. Onopko.
Well, it's not good enough now to be a good defensive team. They've got to become a good attacking team.
Very ambitious by Onopko, trying to find Kolivanov. Long raking pass. Ukrainian fans lapping this up. Khalid Vintsev and straight through to Karin.
Well, every second that's spent in this half of the field is a relief for the Ukraine, Derek. I mean, we've almost come to the hour mark at this stage. And Russia hasn't really showed any signs of awakening.
They really have lifted the Ukrainian national team all night long. Continuing in that fashion. Blast from Semak. Mikitin has given them a torrid time on this left flank and eventually stabbed out of play by Kovtu.
Oh, he's had a great game. Mikitin has been the star, just carrying the ball out of there.
Let us take the opportunity to update you on other matches in the second half. Georgia with a 1-0 lead thanks to a goal by Shota Arveladze against Albania. So 1-0 there. And in Group 3, Finland 2, Moldova 2. Good recovery by the Finns. They were trailing 2-1. And that's still in the first half. by Johansson there for Finland to tie it up. Bit of hesitation here, and so nearly a third goal for the Ukraine.
Oh, it should have been put home. Popov coming across the middle. Derek gets the... Watch the ball break to him. Takes it on the boot. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 Russian defenders. He should have ripped the top of the net with that one. Great opportunity as the ball breaks through. He nips through, takes the shot on the turn, and he just drives it up over the top.
Well, he scored once already tonight as Popov.
That should have been number 2, Derek. He won't get many better opportunities than that one.
Hussein driving his team on. He's trying to find Shevchenko. Onopko trying to hold this Russian team together.
Oh, it's one-way traffic at the moment, although they're going to get a free kick here. The Russians just not able to get involved.
Kolivanov riding around on the grass.
I mean, when you go back to Kolivanov, he had a terrible injury that looked like it was going to ruin his career. Remember the Russian coach talking about him saying, you know, when Kolivanov dribbles with the ball, my heart begins to sing. That's how talented he felt he was, but there's not much singing in the heart today. Let me tell you, Kolivanov in a Ukrainian sandwich there. Down he goes.
2-0 is the score. It's been that way since officially the 25th minute, according to our electronic scoreboard at the Olympic Sports Complex. Anatoly Bichevets remained fairly calm despite everything.
Well, he's gotten up now, so that's a major change. He's down on the line now.
It's the 4th coach they've had in the last 6 years. Ivanov being worked on and swept away by the captain, Holovko. This is the scene here in Kiev. Euro 2000 qualifying, Group 4. Derek Ray, Tommy Smith with you, and those 2 goals, still the difference. Popov and Shevchenko for the Ukraine. First time these 2 teams have ever met. Kolivanov is back with us now.
Well, the Ukrainians, not a good pride to be playing with your ball in your own box, Derek, but nevertheless, they're making it look so easy out there.
Khalid Vincent with a great pass. Shevchenko almost falling over his own feet. And to go against 2 very strong Russian defenders. They're under pressure again. The passing out of defense on the part of Russia has left a lot to be desired.
Well, Shevchenko causing all kinds of problems, and of course it is a name that has caused all kinds of problems for the Russians. If you go back in history, the great poet Shevchenko was exiled by the Russians, so Shevchenko is a name that brings a lot of things to mind when you talk about Russia.
They failed to keep it in play that time. Substitution in the offing for Bichevets and the Russians. It's as though Alexander Mostovoy will come into the match. 30-year-old free kick specialist. Plays for Celta Vigo in Spain. And he takes the place of Alenichev, who really has been a big disappointment.
Well, Alenichev hadn't been able to get involved, Derek. Very, very few touches on the ball. We expected he was going to run the midfield. It hasn't worked out that way.
So Alenichev will watch the rest of the game from the bench. Mostovoy is in. It's a chance now to play in the center of midfield.
Oh, he's another player who hasn't played with them for a long time. I mean, so many of these players in the Russian team have been recalled after long absences, and I don't think it has worked out so well for them today.
They have been chopping and changing in recent build-up friendlies. There's Mostovoy. Almost 20 minutes of the way into the second half. Can Russia make a game of this?
Well, a goal certainly would make a game of it if they could come up with it. They haven't really looked like they're capable of it.
Mostovoy drifting wide to the left. Still Mostovoy, and he was doing the tugging. Free kick goes against Russia. Well, the captain, Holovko, in his own quiet way, has imposed himself on this game. in common with defenders such as Vasyuk, who's about to take this free kick. I hardly think of a save that Shavkovsky in goal has had to make. There have been a couple of chances created by Russia, but nothing that has directly involved Shavkovsky.
Nothing here in the second half at all, Derek.
It's a free kick by Kolivanov that went wide of the target. They're going to get a free kick here. Suspicion of a high boot by Vasyuk. And Mostovoy is standing now beside Kolivanov. Mostovoy, who replaced Alenichev, the Russian player of the year.
Oh, he just came in at the right time. They're going to let him hit the free kick. He is the free kick specialist.
See if they have a trick up their sleeve. They flick it back to Mostovoy, and there's the free header, and they're back in it. A brilliant header from close range in the end. Minko was the man, it looked like, who made the late run.
Well, you're going to see, we talked about the free kick specialist as the ball comes dropping inside into the box. The ball is knocked down into the back of the net.
Varlamov, I think, Tommy, was it?
Varlamov, I believe, the number 11 player, gets the header onto it right into the box, and there's the keeper left with no chance. Very, very bad marking by the Ukraine at the back. Give the Russians a life here. Coach looks like a genius now, bringing on the player who set the situation right.
It was Varlamov in the 67th minute. The big defender, and just like that, we have a brand new game.
With a long time to go.
The Ukrainians looking for the advantage again of 2 clear goals.
How important was Popkov's miss now, Derek, the one where he cut inside of the box?
Varlamov, an unlikely hero for Russia. All came from that Mostovoy free kick.
Well, we talked about him in the first half wearing the number 11, but they had used him almost at the centre of defence, as you see him in the picture there, dropping back a lot of the time, trying to pick up Rebrov. He hasn't been able to run with him, but coming forward he did very well. Maybe he should be pushed forward with that number 11 on.
Now Bishevets out of the technical area at every opportunity. Nikitin.
Well, the first attacking opportunity that Russia got, Derek, and to put the ball in the net.
They took full advantage. I think questions will be asked about the inability of the Ukrainian defenders to pick up Varlamov. So 2-1 match now. Varlamov breathing new life into the Russian effort. I think they would have been very happy with a draw before a ball was kicked today. Joseph Sabo just watches the game. Haven't seen him shout too much or get up off his seat.
Well, I think if the Ukraine are to be pinned back to a draw, Derek, they'll consider it 2 points they've lost.
Euro 2000 qualifying on Monday here on ESPN. We'll take in the match between Hungary and Portugal. Check your local listings. The Hungarians against the Portuguese from Group 7.
Well, many people feel that there's a revival on the way in Hungary, and this would be a good chance to prove it. I mean, Portugal, one of those teams that seem to always be in contention but never seem to get there.
An Upko with a good feed. And the chance is on again for Russia. Pushed away by Shavkovsky, and the defenders do the rest. Now action spills over to the other end. Rebrov loves to attack from the flank. He'll have to make do with the corner kick.
Oh, you're going to see the keeper just gets a fist onto it, Derek. Little bit lucky here that the ball breaks out nicely to him.
Rebrov with the corner for the Ukraine. Varlamov, the man who scored the goal just a couple of minutes ago, back now defending for Russia. Well, it's end-to-end stuff here. Mostovoy just running into trouble. First time these two countries have ever met on the football field. Shugainov for Russia. Looking for Kalivanov. The defenders looking a little more rattled now.
Well, they're certainly not as composed as they were, Derek, and the Russians are starting to find their way onto the ball. And
that's Valery Karpin, 29-year-old, who, like Mostovoy, plays for Celta Vigo in Spain. This will be his third cap if he comes in. And the number 8 is being held high in the air. That's not a surprise. Kanchelski's has had a very poor match.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't been able to get involved. I mean, you could see that he had kind of, he wasn't all that interested at times, and there was no supply of the ball for him. Well, Karpin vowed that he'd never play under this coach again, but got a recall after that fiasco that happened with him in Cyprus, Derek, and now here he's back on the field again. So I guess politics and football make strange bedfellows.
And certainly there's been a lot of talk about politics in connection with this match. Many people in the Russian camp trying to use this occasion to deflect attention away from the political crisis in Moscow. President Boris Yeltsin said to be watching this closely and appeals for a penalty. Rebrov went down.
Should be.
And this could be trouble for Karin. Yes, a red card. And he could have no complaints. A penalty kick. And the early bath for Dmitry Karin.
And you're going to see why. This is a terrible play back by the defender, and the keeper's coming out. He takes the player down. I mean, he just cuts him down. Rebrov is coming through, trying to get onto the ball that's not at back. The keeper makes contact with him, knocks him down, takes him down in the area. Should be a penalty call and a red card. He denies him a goal-scoring opportunity. That means it's a red card. Hasta la vista, baby. Karin out of here.
This wasn't the return to international football that Dmitry Karin was hoping for. A penalty kick then coming up for the Ukraine. The Russians will try to get Stanislav Cherchezov into the match, the backup goalkeeper, the 35-year-old who plays in Austria with FC Tirol.
Well, he was the man who knocked Karin out of the job, and it became his job, and then he was involved in that fiasco in Cyprus. He lost his job. Now Karin goes out, and he's going to get the chance to come in again, and there'll be a question of who are they going to take off. It looks like they're
Samak, I think. Yeah. Samak, the number 6, leaves the match so they can get the reserve goalkeeper in.
Shevchenko may take this, give him an opportunity to score. No, Rebrov.
Yeah.
Well, he was the man who was pulled down, so why not? Keeper wants a touch of the ball before. Hey, let me get a feel of what this thing feels like. Yeah, I'll take it in here for a walk.
Stanislav Cherchezov will try to deny Rebrov. This could put it out of reach. Rebrov for the Ukraine, yes! 3-1.
Well, it had to be perfectly hit because the keeper guesses right. He keeps it along the ground. He keeps it wide of the keeper, and there's a lot of power on it. This is a well-placed penalty kick. Almost a brilliant save by the keeper just coming into the game, Derek. He almost gets his hand to it, just doesn't quite.
And for Serhii Rebrov, goal number 9 at international level. That makes him unofficially the top goal scorer in the history of the Ukrainian national team, surpassing Timurlan Husseinov, previously tied with him. And now the Russians depleted, down to 10 men and deflated.
Well, now they've got a real problem. They're down by those 2 goals again. It looked like everything was coming up roses for them to get themselves back into the game. And I suppose you might say against the run of play, Derek, it looked like nothing was happening. All of a sudden they got a free kick that ended up in the back of the net, but Ukraine are definitely back in control now.
Mostovoy. So the jockey for position inside the penalty area. No award that time.
Oh, that looked suspicious in there as well. It looked like the Ukrainian player had committed a foul in the box.
Kovalyov feeding it back. Hussein. So we check our scoring situation. Rebrov with a penalty goal in the 74th minute, restoring the 2-goal cushion for the Ukraine. And they're preparing to celebrate 3 points here in Kiev.
Well, the party will go on long into tonight if they manage to get these 3 points. It's not so much the fact that it's 3 points, it's a good start to their campaign, but hey, the old enemy is beaten.
This is Karpin, the substitute. On to measure the accurate cross. Nikitin, certainly the hero of the first half, has been a little quieter since the start of the second, but influential. Certainly a word that can describe his performance. Ostovoy trying to work the combination. Is there any way back for Russia now? Have to think it's very much against the odds. The tackles coming in crisply now for the Ukraine. And this match has been so important to the Ukrainian nation. Certainly viewed in that context since the draw was made. And the cross too high and a little too hopeful. Yanovsky was the man who got it in. And through it goes for the goal kick.
Oh, he wasn't for to keep it in play at all. And in fairness to Karine, you have to feel he's a little bit unfortunate, Derek. A mistake by the defender knocked the ball back into the box. Karine had nothing to do when he go for it. And the Ukrainian player kept on running, and that's how he got taken down. But I couldn't really blame Karine for the way he played. If he gets the ball, he's a hero. If he doesn't get it, he gets a red card. That's what it comes down to.
He, of course, will now miss the next game. Here they come again. Shevchenko. No takers. Cherchesov, the goalkeeper, had to go out and meet him.
Oh, he did well. He didn't allow him anything to shoot it, and Shevchenko was pushed deep towards the byline. Couldn't get it in from that angle, and there was nobody in support. You don't have to be if you're 2 goals in front. Watch Shevchenko slip in behind. He lets it run off his shoulder. The keeper comes out. Here's this shot at trying to put it in from that angle. No way he's going to score from there.
There's the chip this time. Attempted by Kolivanov, but straight down the throat of Alexander Shovkovsky.
Oh, I thought history was going to repeat itself, because the last time that the Ukraine missed a good opportunity with Popov, Russia came back and scored, and I thought it was on again.
Well, this has been highly entertaining stuff. Blistering opening by the Ukraine, as they promised, and as the Russian coach Anatoly Bishevets anticipated. They really haven't let their guard down since then, with the exception of a 10-minute spell midway through the second half, during which time the Russians, albeit temporarily, hauled themselves back into contention.
Well, I think it was a case of the Ukraine taking the foot off the pedal a little bit, Derek, and something you shouldn't do, and I'm surprised that they did. I thought they would have the killer instinct, that they would keep pushing ahead to try and blow the Russians out of here, but they didn't do that, and almost cost them the little inexperience. I mean, they've only played about 17 or 18 games, so there's a little bit of inexperience at international level. The one thing you cannot do at international level is you can't allow a team back into it, because there's so little between any of these teams that if you get an advantage, you've got to try to hold it.
Andrei Husin, 25-year-old midfielder, trying to unleash Khalid Vintsev, and there's the drive, a corker of a shot. Rebrov was following up after great work by Khalid Vintsev, and what a beauty that would have been.
Oh, he pulled it back from the byline. Look at this, back into the middle, and watch the shot. I mean, this was a rasper off the top of the crossbar. Keeper, he's looking. Where did that go? All I seen was a white blur passing me. If it goes down underneath the crossbar, there's no question about what happens to it. Instead, it just skids off the crossbar. Would have been a brilliant goal, Derek. Great attempt.
Make no mistake, this will be an interesting group, given the presence of these two countries and France. And only one team assured of a place in Euro 2000. Only the best overall second-place team will make it. And then the other runners-up will have to go into the playoffs. Now with the touchline it goes. And Mostovoy gets into position to take the Russian throw. Harpine is available. One made by Yanovsky as well, of Paris Saint-Germain. Inside the final 10-minute spell. Couldn't have scripted this much better from the Ukrainian point of view if you tried. Khalid Vintsev, inviting ball. Hussein was making the run, but Cherchezov read it well. Let us bring you up to date on the scores elsewhere. That's a final in Group 8. The Irish with a 2-0 victory over Croatia. 3 priceless points. The Scots will be disappointed with that goalless draw in Vilnius. In Group 9. Armenia in this section, Group 4, getting the job done against Andorra. And the Georgia-Albania match is a final, so Arveladze's goal holds up there in Group 2. 1-0 over Albania. And the Finns coming from behind to take the lead against Moldova. That's the latest score, 3-2 in Group 3. Many more matches to come, including Iceland-France, live from Reykjavik here on ESPN. Certainly an exciting weekend in store. This is only the beginning of our Euro 2000 qualifying coverage. A slippery Rebrov, but Opko goes back. 8.5 minutes to go, Tommy.
Well, you just feel with two players like Shevchenko and Rebrov, the more experience to get, Derek, the more games to get under the belt, the better they're getting. And this could turn out to be a very formidable side before it's all over.
And Opko has it for Russia. Karpin. The Russians just haven't displayed an abundance of ideas in the course of this game. Very flat performance in the first 25 minutes, and they might look back and say that that was what cost them dear. Mostovoy. Slightly better feed as it goes back again to Shovkovsky via Mikitin.
Mikitin just cleaning up at the back. It's all they have to do now, run the string out. About 7 minutes left, whatever he adds on.
A rare shout from Mr. Sabo.
Yeah, he's been strangely quiet all day, hasn't he?
And he's saving his words and celebrations for the post-match portion. Karpin. Kovalyov trying to scrape it downfield. And it's only Bishevets watching intently. But this wasn't the way it was supposed to start for his team. And so tricky with Bishevets and a couple of the other players returning to Kiev where they grew up. With mixed emotions even before a ball was kicked. And trying to put that to one side.
Well, I don't think they managed to do that, Derek. I mean, the Russians looked a little bit flat at the start of the game, like there was something on their mind besides football.
Olovko, the captain, was steering that out of play after a bad touch by Mostovoy. 6.5 minutes left to go. And what a start to the section this would be for the Ukraine. Really make the French sit up and take notice. These counterattacks really are a joy to behold. So much pace, so much trickery involved. Rebrov and Shevchenko, awkward customers for opposing defenders.
I mean, they're very adept at going back into their own end of the field and picking up the ball. And they have so much pace that they can run at defenders and make it work. It almost worked there, except that it just happened to hit Shevchenko on the heel. Had he been fit to receive it properly, that's the second time if he had been fit to receive it properly, Derek, he would have had a great chance.
Mostovoy.
Look at that for a tackle.
Yes, Hussein going in. Another man who really has earned his stripes today. Brazilian football, that comes your way tonight here on ESPN from the city of Sao Paulo. We'll bring you Palmeiras against the slumping Flamengo team. We'll see if they can rebound tonight here on ESPN. Brasileiro. Just over 5 minutes left. Mostovoy carves out a free kick for the Russians. They're down to 10 men, remember. You've recently joined us, Dmitry Kharin, having been red-carded for his part in that penalty award. Rebrov carving it out and scoring from the spot in the 74th minute. So Cherchezov between the posts now. He replaced Semak. Kolivanov beside Mozdomoy. And it will be Igor Kolivanov. A couple of players slipped on the part of the Ukraine. The long drive by Kolivanov. Just too much elevation, and a goal kick it is.
Oh, not even close, and you get good opportunities like that. You cannot afford to squander them, just like the Russians did. That was an opportunity. Should have at least put pressure on the keeper. They did nothing with it.
The Russian players will want to take a good look at this performance again. See where they went wrong. Let us update you on the Sweden-England situation, that match in Group 5. It's still 2-1 Sweden, but Paul Ince of England has been sent off in the 66th minute. So England a goal down and a man down as well.
It turned out to be quite a day for an Irishman. Ireland winning and England losing.
Indeed. So you can see the Ukrainians are going to go to the bench again. Looks as though Valery Kriventsov of Shakhtar Donetsk will come into the match to replace Kovalyov. Just trying to make that switch now. Kovalyov, who was the first player booked in this game, departs the scene now. Kriventsov is in.
Well, just putting in a set of fresh legs at this stage. They want to make sure they don't create any problems at the back for themselves.
A quick free kick, and they bundle it over the line again.
Looks like a knockoff.
Anopko, the defender, joined the attack. A defensive breakdown, and would you believe it, the Russians are still alive.
Well, you should never bring a man in on a set piece to tell you, look at, and Upco gets in behind everybody and just gets a touch on it. That's twice now from set ball situations that the ball has been pushed into the net, and the Russians coming back here, down a man, but now only down a goal. The Ukraine are going to hang on.
And Upco was right beside Kolivanov. They were both going for the ball together. So 3-2 now. And a foul by Anopko quite clearly. Just hauling Dimitrulin down. Viktor Anopko, the man of the moment for Russia. They're playing with only 10 men. We have just over 2 minutes left. What a fine, entertaining match this has been to start our Euro 2000 qualifying coverage here on ESPN.
Oh, we can just hope that the rest of them will be like this, Derek. If they are, there's going to be a lot of good soccer.
Over the top by Popov.
Я забыл Виктор Онопко, номер 7.
And time is of the essence now for Cherchezov. Stay with us for our post-match wrap. We'll dissect all the angles, all the talking points. There have been many, including that Kharin red card for Russia. It came at a critical point in the game. You could argue that the Russians were making inroads at that juncture. The game delicately balanced at 2-1. Look at this run, Shevchenko, and Khalid Vintsev is there, trying to return the favor to Shevchenko. Khalid Vintsev. And wayward in the end. Well, that would have been the opportunity to finally put the game away. 1 minute left, plus stoppage time. 3-2, that should read. Shevchenko, bobbing and weaving. Took a deflection. He'll try to get the corner kick out of that.
Well, that runs off precious time on the clock as we approach the 90 minutes. And you can be sure that the Ukraine are not going to be in any hurry to take this corner, Derek. And then it'll turn out to be a case of how much time is going to be added on. The Ukraine trying to hang on desperately here in the end.
Rebrov has come over to the near side to take the corner kick.
Well, they've had many heroes, and he's certainly one of them today, Derek.
So here Rebrov, and the flashing header. Almost another goal. Took a deflection off one of the Russian players. Popov it was who went up to rise for the challenge.
Oh, you're going to see as the ball comes flashing across. Double deflection on the header. Oh, the referee's not happy with something, Derek.
We are inside stoppage time. Rebrov again for the Ukraine. Cherchesov stays on his line. Very messy inside the box. I couldn't quite find Popov. This is Mostovoy. Popov did well to get it back. Serhii Popov. Rebrov.
Just wouldn't fall for him, would it?
Couldn't quite control it, but he needed to. Khalid Vintsev. Nikitin plays it back to the center of defense. Vaschuk.
Whistles all around the stadium, but none from the referee.
Almost 1 minute added on as that move comes to a screeching halt. Kuznetsov playing the errant ball. The stadium here in Kiev is about to erupt.
Or go silent, one or the other. If the Russians score, you'll hear a pin drop in this place. Oh, surely he fouled them.
And as the decision, Shevchenko with a piece of illegal play.
Oh, I'm not sure if they're going to go by the World Cup rules for 30 seconds for a substitute. There's quite a bit of time to be added on yet.
A lot of space afforded Rebrov here. The measured pass, and there's no defense to speak of. Shevchenko teasing and tormenting, trying to lay it back. And there's the drive! Almost a fourth goal. Popov was supporting. Made a good run off to the right.
Oh, referee's making him take it again. He said the ball was rolling, was outside of the 6-yard box. Really well set up here by Rebrov. Takes a while for the support to get here. Should have done better. He had the measure of it, and he goes for that back post, and you see it skite through your living room.
There's a word I haven't heard for a while. The verb is to skite. 2.5 minutes into stoppage time. The Ukraine 3, Russia 2. It's been an end-to-end second half.
Oh, the referee's the man of attention at the moment, isn't he?
Shavkovsky just urging everyone forward. Using up a few more valuable seconds. All eyes on the German referee, Markus Merck. Shevchenko. Khalid Vintsev. Nikitin. Works his way out to Shevchenko again. It's the very tired Russian defense. That was a dive, says the referee. Maybe one last chance for the Russians to get forward. Karpi. Nikitin for the Ukraine. Shevchenko. Sensibly keeping hold of the ball, using Nikitin. And back now to Vaschuk.
Oh, the Ukrainians very cool under a bit of pressure here. The referee's gone 3.5 minutes now, Derek. Can't go much longer, can he? He's looking at the watch again.
All eyes on Markus Merck. He's glanced at his watch several times. There he is again. They're asking, when will he blow the final whistle? Well, there's the answer. A famous victory this for the Ukraine. The first ever meeting of these two countries. And the home team comes out on top against Anatoly Bishevets and his Russian team. 3-2 the final score. This was thrilling all the way. Back with more from Kiev after the break.